we want to get better as athletes and as sports people ourselves. So I would get one of the elite personal trainers live from Sydney today, and I'm delighted that Dylan Rivier from Built by Dylan is joining me live now from Sydney. Great to have you. I love the t-shirt, Dylan, firstly.
Thanks, mate.
As a man of
Nice little
self-promotion
touch.
myself, I really like it. I'm just annoyed I'm not wearing the Sportuccino t-shirt to match you today.
Oh, come on. Come on. Oh, well, next time.
Really
Yeah,
good to
last
have
minute
you on
change.
the
I've
show
literally
today.
just finished work, mate. So thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's great to have you here, Dylan. Really appreciate it. So
No problem.
let's start from the beginning. Tell us all about Built by Dylan first.
All right. So, I mean, I've been training for a long time. Myself is, well, personal training, I suppose. I actually didn't study that when I went to university. I studied education. So the plan was to be a teacher, primary education, in fact. That was the goal. And then for whatever reason, I decided against that and just sort of fell into working at Sydney University. I was already there and started working for their sport and fitness, their elite athlete program, their sport and fitness union. And one thing led to another, and I started taking group fitness classes, and then led to personal training, which led to me sort of leaving them and going out on my own. And the whole group aspect of what I'm doing now outside my group sessions down at Bondi all really began with a bunch of mates. I had a whole bunch of friends that wanted to start training, and none of them could afford one-on-one personal training. I wanted to help them out, but time is money, unfortunately. So I just decided, look, let's just get a whole bunch of you guys together and make it really affordable and just get down there and smash it out. And it was fun for me too, because I got to get involved, and that it just sort of evolved from that, to be honest.
Some of the advantages are obvious, but what do you think the real gain of group training rather than one-on-one training is?
Look, some people really thrive in that group environment, and I think I don't have big groups. I keep them around 10 people. It's just big enough to create a really good dynamic. You feel like you're working in a team, but you're not just getting lost in a crowd with some guy barking orders at you. And it does, whether you think that you're competitive or not, it does tend to bring out the competitive nature in people when they're training with others. But it's because you spend, I mean, my sessions, I've got 4 sessions a week with these guys. When you think about it, often you don't see your best friends that much, So I've got them 4 times a week in the morning. They really do develop good friendships. So it ends up being, rather than sort of cutthroat, they really kind of help each other and lift each other up when they need a bit of a hand, or give them a bit of a push when when they might need it. So I guess that's the advantage of training with a group like that.
And how difficult can it be for you sometimes when you've got people of all different levels of ability and different goals that they want to reach? Some people might have pretty good fitness and want to just continue that and keep it going, while some people really just haven't been doing anything for years. Maybe that's due to laziness, or maybe that's due to injury or something like that. How difficult can it be to kind of manage both of the expectations from those two different types of people?
Look, that happens all the time, almost every round. Mine works on a 6-week program, so every 6 weeks I'll get people that'll roll on it and do another one. So they've already sort of got an edge on the next lot that come through. But every single round I've got a really quite a varied mix of people from, like you said, may not have exercised for a long time due to illness, injury, or just, it's quite easy to fall by the wayside when you start working full time, and then generally speaking, health and fitness tends to take a back foot. And then I've got guys who have been with me for a long time who are just absolute weapons. As far as a programming perspective, that there's a little bit of a challenge there. But the way I like to do it with my groups is I'll after the first week I'll have a rough idea of everyone's fitness levels, and so I cater my sessions to be doable for the least fit person in that group should be able to finish the session. And then what I do is I just have options, option A, option B, option C, whatever, for those who are willing and or able to sort of give it a bit more of a nudge. That way, everyone finishes just as exhausted as one another, and also everyone gets that sense of achievement. There's no point making a really tough session and having half your group not being able to finish it. I mean, it's challenging, but that can be kind of demoralizing, and they start thinking, oh, shit, I'm not good enough for this group. I can't keep up, et cetera, et cetera. And it's a bit of a downward spiral. So I try to make it doable for everyone, and then those who find that a bit easier, they get to ramp it up a notch.
So you're in the beautiful setting of Bondi Beach in Sydney. So what are some of the
Yep.
exercises that you can do in that scenic environment?
Mate, we're pretty lucky down here. Hey, there's no shortage of good views, not just the scenery, but look, we've got soft sand, we've got water. So when the conditions are good, I'll get my team into the water. We'll do ins and outs, which is like it sounds. We basically run into the water, turn around, run back out again. And the actual length of the beach, the width, I suppose, from the water up to the retaining wall can be anywhere from 50 to 100 meters, depending on the tide. So that's a fair slog coming out of the water. We use that for resistance. I've got a bunch of little bits and pieces of equipment that I'll bring down occasionally to create some sort of little hit circuit. There's also a fantastic set of monkey bars or outdoor training gym that you might have seen on media. It's pretty iconic for that area, and beautiful backdrop. We've got a bunch of bars we use for pull-ups and push-ups, all sorts of things like that. Plus, and just amazing parklands around the area that we can spread ourselves out and bust out all sorts of things.
Yeah.
With the beach in the background, everything's a little bit easier, I think.
And do you have a favourite exercise, Dylan?
I am a big fan of pull-ups and push-ups. I'm old school. I like pull-ups and push-ups. Pretty much there's your whole upper body workout done and dusted right there. So as far as my outdoor calisthenics sort of thing, that's my favorite. And I've had, like a lot of your audience, I'm sure, can relate. I've had a couple of knee surgeries through playing sport when I was younger, and running on pavement gives me a lot of grief. I can do it, but the next day I pull it pretty sore. I find running on the soft sand doesn't give me any problems at all. So that's definitely my preferred form of running on the sand for sure.
And what about your clients? What is the one exercise which they probably dread the most, but you think gives them the best results?
Without a doubt, the one exercise that everybody hates. I've never met anyone that enjoys burpees. I don't know. It doesn't matter what we're doing. If I throw in some burpees into the mix, it just ruins people because it's so tough. What else is rough? Any kind of, I'm not sure if you've ever done any sort of running on the sand, on soft sand. It's easy, 1.5, probably twice as difficult as running on pavement. So any kind of sprint drills that we do down there is also super tough, but made a little bit easier to swallow in that once we're done, we can just run in and grab a quick swim before we have to head to work or breakfast in my case.
Yeah, speaking of breakfast, what is typically in your diet?
So I'll eat twice in the morning. I eat first thing when I wake up. It's either 4:15 or 5 o'clock, depending on my first session. I'll have a big bowl of oats with protein powder, bananas, blueberries, maybe some mangoes. So I'll smash that first thing in the morning, which took me a while to get used to. Eating that early, but now I can't live without it. And then I'll have my first few sessions. So I might be training for the next 3 or 4 hours, usually for about 3 hours, and then I'll eat again, eggs, avocado, sometimes chicken or salmon, bacon, ham, something like that. What else? Tomato. So I'll have like a hot breakfast after that, and a coffee. Definitely a coffee.
I'm drinking a coffee right now, mate. It's pretty early here, so starting the day. So
it's almost dinner time. I'm starving.
Are you good to play? We're doing a new feature called 5 Favourite Things, and it's just finding out a little bit more about you as the person rather than the trainer. So it's mainly about your interests. So a bit of a quick fire round. I'll just throw things at you. It could be like favourite pet, favourite this. You can give me a quick answer. And then if there's one I want to go into more detail with, I'll ask you at the end of the 5. Okay?
All right. I'll try.
So, favourite food?
Eggs.
Favourite film?
True Romance.
Favourite city?
Sydney.
Favourite song?
Oh, man. I've got so many favourite songs. Free Bird, Lynyrd Skynyrd.
And favourite book?
Oh, favourite book. You know what? I read a whole lot of like old school sci-fi and fantasy stuff. Favorite, I couldn't tell you. I really enjoyed the Game of Thrones series until that went a bit strange. Um, let me get back to you on that one.
No worries. Well, I love the Game of Thrones TV show. Would you say the books are worth reading as well, or if you watch the TV series, you don't need to?
The books are definitely worth reading. Always, always. There's a hell of a lot more going on. But I mean, up until the last season, the books were ahead of the TV show, so I sort of knew what was happening. But now I guess they're just making it up as they go. So who knows what's going to happen?
Yeah,
the books are not finished yet.
We'll have to see what happens there.
He still hasn't finished. I'm pretty sure he wrote the first one 20 years ago.
It's been a while, and he's taking a long time to write the new ones. That's why they're kind of having to slow it all down. All right, well, Dylan, it's been really good to talk to you. Before we go, tell us about your 6-week program that you've got going.
Right, so it's just a outdoor training for 6 weeks, a 6-week progression to get I guess what are the results? People, especially right now in Sydney, it's the height of summer, right? It's really hot days, so I guess everyone wants to feel confident in their bikini or their board shorts or speedos, whatever it is. So we combine calisthenics, bodyweight exercise with high intensity interval training, sprints. We use the soft sand and the water, like I mentioned before, when the weather permits. And it's just a good bunch of people, small groups. Get together 4 times a week and smash it out.
Well,
it's good times, mate. You got to get down here and give it a crack.
Definitely. I've been to Bondi once before, but not been trained by you. So I need to return and get done that. I need to be built by Dylan. It's been really good.
Next time, I'll get you a t-shirt as well. All right.
Why don't you just tell us your social media channels before we go, so we can continue to follow what you're up to? I know you've got a fantastic Instagram channel.
Yeah, so my Instagram is just @builtbydylan. Same with Facebook and Twitter, although I'm useless on Twitter. I'm sorry, guys. I don't know how to use it. I just upload photos every now and again. But yeah, Instagram and Facebook @builtbydylan. Check it out. Give us a follow, and hopefully you like what you see.
Definitely. Well, it's been really good to get your thoughts today. Dylan Rivier, thank you so much for your time and being on Sportuccino.
My pleasure, mate. Thanks for having me.